Hello there, I'm Dr. Joel Hunter. I'm an ophthalmologist, and today on Lit Explanations we are going to be talking about progressives. This is not the car insurance. I started with a terrible joke. This is about the lenses in your glasses that you can get that are called progressives. They are mysterious to people a lot of times, both how to wear them and how anyone can wear them, and why do I feel like I have a fishbowl on my head while I wear them. And so today we're going to try to demystify a little bit about what are progressive lenses and how do they work. So progressives, it's actually short for a three-part thing, and this is actually when we write a prescription for them. We call them PAL lenses, and that stands for progressive ad lenses. And the reason that exists, like the reason progressives are helpful, is because once you get past the age of about 42 to 50, and that's a wide range, but it's between 42 and 50 that it hits almost everybody. When you're 42, it's some people. When you're 50, it's pretty much everyone. You no longer have the ability to autofocus with the lens that's inside your eye. So when you're a kid and you look across the room, your lens relaxes, and when you look up close to see a comic book or a bug or something, whatever you're looking at as a kid, then your lens will sphericize, which is not a word, but it gets more round and autofocuses up close. It stiffens and gets stuck in the distance over time. And so that's why between age 42 and 50, people have either of two choices. They can either lift up their glasses to read things, and that's if they were lucky enough to be nearsighted in middle school or high school and just needed glasses for distance, because they have vision that's stuck up close anyway. The other option is to wear readers or bifocals. And that was the only option until the invention of progressive ad lenses. And so the way it works with bifocals is you are a Philadelphia publisher slash statesman named Benjamin Franklin, and you realize, hey, I need this power to see off in the distance, but I need much more power to see up close. I'm going to invent bifocals. And then he did, which is super smart. No one had done that before. And so the way that works is, and you still actually have a cut for bifocals called the Franklin cut that like matches what he did with his original ones. But you look in the distance, and then there's a lens at the bottom, because when you read stuff, it's, unless you're an electrician doing all your near work above your head, pretty much you're going to be holding stuff down here. And so that works out really well because you can look over the reading part, and then when you're going to read, you look down through the reading part. As time has gone on, technology has improved, and we have a lot more intermediate tasks. We have a lot more things that aren't really so much 18 inches from our face, but maybe 24 or 36 inches from our face. Things like our computer screen, which for a lot of us is something that we're looking at, 8, 12, 18 hours a day. And so then they said, well, we need a lens for that distance, because you can either see distance or you can see up close, but if you're gonna try to look at your computer screen, and everyone's done this, you're gonna have to tilt your head back to look through the bifocal part and get really close to your computer. It gives you a neck ache. And so then they said, well, let's try trifocals. And trifocals, they just said, we'll have a computer distance one that's right in the middle so that you can at least just kind of go like this. But then progressive ad lenses came along, and they said, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take this lens, we're just gonna draw one of them. So if we drew the other one, this is how the glass would look. We're drawing two of them. All right. So if we have this lens, this is what we're looking down at our computer. The way this works is you have distance up here at the top, and then as you get more towards the center and lower down, you have more and more plus prescription. So there might be a little bit of prescription up here, but then you've got a little bit of plus right here, and then you've got a little bit more right here, and then even more at the very bottom. And so there's a little gap in that marker, so it looks like those are all H's, but those are supposed to be plus signs. So as you get more towards the bottom of your lens, you have more power to look through it. Now here's the thing about progressives, and if you've listened all this time just to get to the helpful part, I apologize, here's where it is. Progressives are one of the only things in glasses purchasing where you're absolutely going to have better vision the more money you spend on your progressive glasses. And I'm not talking about Gucci frames and things like that. The actual quality of the lens, it still exists that we have progressive lenses from 30 or 40 years ago, made by the same technology. And what happens with those is, out of the entire lens, we'll make this one of the old ones, out of the entire lens, the sweet spot that you can see up close is about this big. Right there, this one little spot. And you know what it is? If you're holding something and you're trying to see it up close, you have an area about the size of a baseball that you can see clearly. And so what that means is, whatever you're looking at, you have to move your head to keep it in that one sweet spot. This causes that fishbowl effect, because what happens is your eye, naturally trying to scan across the page, unless you're reading your book like this as you're reading things, you're going to have this blur out here because there's less power out there. And so it causes this kind of fishbowl scanning effect that you're trying to see through things. And it's why people say, I tried progressives, I hate them. I just went back to my bifocals because I couldn't do it anymore. It's because for bifocals, you really can get cheaper lenses because you just have a lens power up top and then there's a different lens power down at the bottom. And they're just a cutoff right between the two, and so that can be cheaper. With progressives, if you try to do like a 2 for $100 type of deal or something like that, what you end up with is old technology. But now we have new digital technology, and what that does is it uses, it's basically a much higher definition version of what they tried to do here. And what that does is it creates this very large sweet spot that's about the size of a page, which you can see why that matters, because that's what you're trying to read. And not just in that one little sweet spot at the bottom where you have the most near vision, but that means that also it's a much larger sweet spot for all of that intermediate vision. And so you don't find yourself doing this thing all the time trying to find where you're going to look through your progressive lenses. It's the difference between an old cathode ray tube CRT, that's what CRT stood for, right? Yeah, CRT television, and like the new 4K, ultra high detail thing. There's a big difference in these technologies. So that would probably be the best advice I could give you about how to get progressive lenses that you actually like. It would be to go somewhere that has digital technology and can get you lenses that will actually match where you're trying to look at things, rather than just have this one tiny sweet spot that you can see through. I hope that was a helpful explanation. That's literally everything I know about progressives.